Sisters in Crime is a pretty great episode of Full House. This is the 14th episode of the 5th season. This is directed by Zwick, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And this one has just one main overarching narrative, and it works really well. We didn't need a second narrative in there. We have, a teeny tiny second narrative because the guys are going off playing hockey. Becky is taking the babies to visit Aunt Ida. So DJ is babysitting, and Danny has told her Stephanie needs to do her book report, and Michelle's not allowed outside because she's very sniffly, she's got a cold. No problem, it's going to be an easy day, easy babysitting. DJ was meant to have plans with Steve, but it didn't work, so everything's going to be fine. And then Steve turns up, and here we have the introduction of Steve, and Steve is a fabulous character. Honestly, he's not that great in this episode. We don't get to know him too well, but he doesn't really seem to be that keen on doing the right thing. Granted, everything's kind of driven by DJ's actions, but the point there, I guess, is that as an introduction to Steve, he doesn't come across as maybe the most likeable character, but there's time for that to change. More about Steve when we get there. The reason that DJ's making things a little bit awkward is because she and Steve were meant to go to the movie theatre. This was before she agreed to babysit. And then now Steve's turned up, she still wants to go to the movie theatre. So she decides, well, she'll just take Stephanie and Michelle along. And I feel like the better option would be to just watch a film in the living room, in the house. That would be a lot more private than going to a movie theatre. No adults around either, but nevertheless, they decide to go to the movie theatre, and unfortunately, all of DJ's money is spent on snacks for Stephanie and Michelle. So she hasn't got any money left to buy their tickets, and Steve's only got enough to buy his and DJ's tickets. So the sensible thing would be to go home and watch a film on the television. No, DJ thinks it would be better to sneak them in. And they can do this because Kimmy actually, coincidentally, has just got a job at the movie theatre. I love her outfit. Her uniform is absolutely fantastic. I love the colour of it. I think it looks really brilliant. And Kimmy agrees. They all sneak in. Well, the kids sneak in. DJ and Steve have their own tickets. And while they're there, DJ and Steve want to sit on their own, so Michelle and Stephanie sit a little further away. And that means that when somebody from the movie theatre comes in and sees Stephanie and Michelle, aware that somebody had been sneaking into the movie theatre and they can't produce their ticket stubs, he realises it's them and he herds them out. I will say, I don't really know how he would have found that out. So I think that part's maybe a tiny bit hard to believe, but maybe not. Maybe there was a logical reason for why he knew kids were sneaking in, but he didn't know which kids. I don't know, but either way, they go into the office and Kimmy tells DJ and Steve that this has happened. And Stephanie is actually clearly ratting out Kimmy, immediately saying that she was the one who let them into the movie theatre. Stephanie still believes that their tickets were free because they were the millionth visitor of this brand new movie theatre. Maybe a little bit naive for her age, but nevertheless, she believed this to be the case. And DJ got away with it, surprisingly, but it gave us a brilliant rest of the episode. She gets away with it by pretending that they do this all the time. She didn't know they'd done it. It wasn't her idea. She's going to take them home and make sure their father hears about this. So they get away with it in terms of the movie theatre. When they're back at the house, DJ tells them that they need to come up with what she's calling a fiblet, which I have to say is an absolutely adorable word. I love that so much. It's a teeny, teeny, tiny lie to get their story straight so that they don't say what happened. And it seems like Michelle might actually blow it because she's not very good at this lying thing, which is not a bad thing. And then the guys come home and Becky comes home as well with the babies, and Danny asks them what they did that day, and they got away with it. They told the lie that they'd come up with. Problem solved, except it's eating away at DJ. We can hear her internal thoughts as she's responding to everything Danny is saying, all of this praise and positivity, and she doesn't feel like this is right, and she feels worse than scum, and eventually her conscience gets the better of her, and she comes clean, and she tells Danny exactly what happened. And that's a pretty big deal, especially since Danny said he was going to raise her weekly allowance as well. And she confesses everything. And initially, I didn't agree with Danny's actions, but then I thought about it and I did because he punishes all three of them. And as DJ said, it was her lie. They just went along with it. They shouldn't be punished. And I thought, yeah, I agree with DJ. This was her fault, her decisions. But as Danny pointed out, Michelle and Stephanie did agree to go along with the lie. It was their decision to agree to tell this lie. So actually, when I thought about it, yeah, I can see why they would deserve punishment as well. But maybe not as severe a punishment as DJ, partly because it wasn't their idea. They were tricked into it. They thought they were the millionth customer. And also because they're younger as well. So maybe weren't fully as aware of the situation as they perhaps would have been if they were older. But I agreed with Danny in the end. So obviously the message here is don't lie. Don't sneak yourself into movie theatres because it's not going to end well. And I like the fact that DJ ultimately was there for her sisters and was willing to take the blame. After all, she was to blame. And it ended with a nice moment where she was going to help Stephanie with her book report and she was going to play Candyland with Michelle, and it was a really sweet way to end things. I don't know if I have any personal highlights from this episode. I think just the episode as a whole was really enjoyable. I loved Kimmy's outfit. I liked the movie theatre set. That was pretty nice. Not too big, not too small. A nice enough, very believable space. And I guess DJ's internal thoughts, that was a really nice touch as well. And ultimately how Danny handled the situation. Also the boys fighting in their hockey gear. I thought that looked pretty brilliant as well. So needless to say, I thought that Sisters in Crime was a pretty decent episode of Full House. Absolutely one that I really thoroughly enjoyed.